This is Dr. Carroll, and this video is about casting, the Sizeof operator, and the conditional operator as well. So let's first talk about casting, or conversion from one data type to another. Now we use explicit typecast, or conversion, to show that the cast was intentional, that we had thought through this and that's what we wanted to do. Now in C++, we have three ways of doing this. We have the functional notation, the prefix notation, and the keyword notation. Let's go through each of these. The functional notation, it treats it as if it's a function. We have the data type, parentheses, and then an expression of what we want to be casted or converted inside the parentheses. The prefix notation wraps the data type in parentheses and then applies to the next expression immediately to the right of it. The keyword notation is a bit longer and uses the keyword static cast with a template type and then parentheses. So now you may be wondering, now which one to use? Well, sometimes it's up to you as the developer. But if your data type has more than one word, you're going to have to use either the second or the third form. For example, if you had unsigned int, you needed to cast it to an unsigned int, you can't use the first form. Now, software engineers recommend that you use form number 3 as it facilitates searching, finding, replacing in large code bases. And that's it for casting. For the Sizeof operator, it's a unary operator. It just takes one operand, and it yields the number of bytes of its operand. Let's see some examples. So if we have some int, then we can say, what is the size of that int? And it'll tell us the number of bytes that are required for that variable. We could alternatively wrap it in parentheses if that makes us feel better and feels more like a function call, just setting the order of operations there. Or alternatively, instead of passing a variable, we can actually pass it a type. We're going to need the parentheses if we're going to have a data type there. And so what this does in this case is on my machine, now it may be different than yours, we're going to get 4 bytes for the int, either way we do it, but the double is going to take up 8 bytes. Now, using Sizeof makes your code more portable and robust, because what it does is it removes some assumptions about how many bytes something is stored. And so as you create programs that are going to be more portable, more widely distributed, you need to be careful about the assumptions you make. Now let's talk about the question mark operator, or otherwise known as the conditional operator. Now this one's really interesting because it takes 3 operands. Okay, so let's look at those. So we have an expression, which is going to be evaluated as a Boolean. Then we have a question mark, okay? Then we have an expression which is executed if the initial expression is true. Then we have a colon. And then we have an an expression that happens if we didn't execute the second expression. So if the initial expression is false, and then we follow that up with a semicolon which completes the statement. Okay, so there's our 3 operands to it. Now let's see an example. So if we want to determine the max of 2 variables, yeah, we could have written an if statement and set it, but that's precious keystrokes and extra lines. So if we use the conditional operator, we're going to need the question mark, the colon, and then a semicolon to terminate the statement. So we could have an expression, for example, is A greater than B? Well, if that's true, then the max would be A, and the minimum would be B. If the first one is false, well then we know that B is larger. Now notice if there's a tie here, it's going to default to A. Now it's common practice to wrap the initial expression in parentheses to be executed. That's it for this video. Hope you enjoyed it.